shit. This is how much we know about movies. And we just if you want a raw review of movies, you're getting it right here because we don't know shit.
Dad! Oh, fuck, I don't know, man. Is that like nostalgia purposes for kids these age?
I don't give a shit. I don't care.
We get that, Pop.
Fine, I'll Google it. Through the magic
I mean, you don't
of
have
podcasting.
to Google it. I'm just saying, just take it out.
No.
Not bring it out, or just be better prepared.
Now I'm shut your fucking mouth.
I am your father.
Man, sometimes I wish like things would stay at a simpler time mentality.
Welcome to the Two Dads Review podcast. I tell you, man, this is a solid season of American Horror Story. Like, I'm not even. It's so good. Like, I have enjoyed every episode, maybe minus like episode 2 that we kind of griped about. I've enjoyed every episode, and this one was no different.
Yeah, it was a good episode. Like, I almost like don't want to even like rate the episodes anymore because it's basically just it's a good season already. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would have to do something drastically now to really fuck it up. You know, where you just went, what did you do? Like, now you're just basically watching this thing to go, all right, let's see if you can be a TV show that gives me an actual ending, like once, like in all of the American Horror Stories, like, because this one seems like it kind of needs to be wrapped up. Like, you can't really go, oh, there's the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta at least give me something with Michael, or I don't know. Like, yeah,
what we're really doing is we're like, okay, Ryan Murphy, I dare you to wrap this up in 3 episodes because that's all you got left, bro. It's all you got left. You got 3 episodes to wrap this story up, and you've built it, and you've built it, and built it. So I don't know what else. I mean, like, you have got 3 episodes to do it, man, and don't peter out at the end. Don't fuck us over at the end because it's a strong season. If these last 3 episodes are as good as the rest of the season, this season will go down as one of the best ones. When people list it off, they'll say, what's everybody say their first one is most of the time? Murder House?
mm-hmm.
And then
this is better than Murder House.
You saying it's better than Murder House?
Yes, this is fucking American Horror Story's best season ever. They had the best episode ever. Like,
they had the highest rated episode ever.
Yeah, and I guarantee, like, if you just kind of found a group of people that hadn't watched any American Horror Story and you put, say, this season first before they watched Murder House, because you don't really even, I mean, yes, you need to know that little specific, like, nostalgia part that the people came back, but you could actually watch the season without even seeing Murder House, and those are just now characters that, because you realize they haunt that house. You're like, all right, it's a Hellgate, house is haunted, no big deal. And then you could go back and watch Murder House and have like that kind of nostalgia again in reverse order, right? But yeah, this season fucking owns everything that they've ever put out. Just like, it just kind of came in, took the belt, took the crown, took the fucking cape, took, you know, whatever other iconic emblem you can think of for something, and set its ass right up on top and pretty much shoved everybody down to not even like a close number 2. Like, Murder House is not even a close number 2 compared to this season.
Yeah. I'm not sure I would put Murder House as my number 1.
Asylum is now my number 2.
I would, I'm with you. I would say this is, as long as the last 3 episodes don't peter out, I would say this is number 1 and Asylum's number 2. I would go there without even seeing Roanoke and Hotel.
I don't even think these, like, episodes, like, the only thing I'm worried about, like, I don't think the episodes are gonna be bad episodes. Like, the only thing I'm worried about is there's still, like, episodes that you're cool, like, you're in and you're like, ooh, okay, they're gonna tell me more. Then all of a sudden, because it's gonna be one of those things where you're not really gonna realize, like, it's the last episode, like you are, but at the same time, you're gonna be like, nah, they're gonna give me one more because there's too much shit. Right? And it's just gonna be like this, like, I don't know, Michael walking out of the mist, and like, you're just seeing the beginning of all the shit because we already kind of knows what happens, and so then we're stuck in this little loop, and we're like,
yeah,
okay,
you're right. We are nearing the point where we have to come back to the main timeline we started with. So we know that whatever the coven and the warlocks and the witches do to fight him doesn't work, and the apocalypse happens, and then we have to come back to where it's the 6 witches again going at him one more time. So you're right. I don't know how much longer we're going to be in this part of the timeline that we've been in for the past, I don't know, what, 3 or 4 episodes at least, if not more. Yeah, about 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, but we're almost caught up because, like, basically with Miss Mead getting murdered, like, I bet you that's the thing that, like, brings Michael out of the woods and just kind of triggers all the shit.
Yeah, boy, that boy took the wrong time to take a walk in the woods.
You know, but that's also one of those things where, like, we all know that the bad stuff's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like getting a history lesson on Hitler. Like, you know he's a really bad person, but really at the end of the day, we all kind of go, well, what was the fucking one thing in his life or, like, somewhere along the way that where he just went, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. Like, because, like, we're basically at Michael's, like, crossroad. Like, he's good. Like, everybody knows he's the bad guy. Like, even the bad warlocks within the, like, the group of warlocks, you know, like, no, he's a bad guy. Like,
they don't even
they're
care.
on that, but they don't know, like, how bad of a bad dude he is, right? So, like, there's still kind of that. But what's going to kind of unleash that? You know, Miss Mead getting fucking fried at a stake by a bunch of witches that he was already, like, supposed to kill anyways. Like,
that'll accelerate things.
If you're gonna say piss the Antichrist off, like, the one person that he's found even the remotest sense of love, take that away.
Right.
Like, you know, and he's like, okay, I'll just fuck it. Like, I'm just gonna scorch everything now. Like, I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, but at some point between when she dies and what we've seen from the standard timeline, he has to, like, create a robot in her image. So,
yeah, but I don't like. That's one of those things too. Like, he's the son of Satan. So really, is it more like, I created you because I was in a workshop slaving away? Or was it like, I created you because I'm the Dark Prince and I have dark magic and I basically was like, woo, and fucking whipped up some shit real quick, right? Like, I just kind of called daddy and summoned a demon robot.
I guess. Maybe he can only do robots because only God can create humans.
That's going way too far.
That's
into
deep.
It, I feel
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, here, let's do a little.
You're
something.
like from downtown.
let's do a little something. So we actually know the titles of the last 3 episodes. So
see why? Like, I don't even know why they published that. Like, it should just be untitled until
all the way until it comes out.
I hate all this, like, more information. Like, I want everybody to be in the dark and they just have to watch this shit.
Well, and I think what we're going to see is next week will be building up him coming out of the woods, getting pissed, and them preparing to fight. I'm guessing the fight will either happen at the end of next episode or the beginning. It'll be like a cliffhanger, and then the big fight will happen the beginning of the 9th episode. They'll lose. They'll run with their tails tucked, and then do the spells on the girls to make them not know who they are, hide them in society, and go into their hiding. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think they're gonna have a fight first?
They have to. Well, I mean, they have to do. Well,
see, because
I would
then
assume that either they don't.
He would already know. Like, see, they have to put the other witches, like, under the spells first, because they can't like know any part in, like, what they done, and Michael can never have seen them before. Otherwise, he would know. Like, if they showed up, like, hey, Prince of Darkness, we're here to kick your ass. And then, like, he beats them or whatever. And then they're like, oh, shit. Hey, we're going to have to put him in hiding and then send him to, the exact school that he's been in the whole time. Like, this has to be like a Trojan horse thing set up from the get-go.
So you think they're going to... I mean, the only way that they don't... I mean, their goal right now is to go stop him in this part of the timeline. Their goal is to go stop him from becoming the Supreme and stop him from enacting the apocalypse. So somehow that doesn't happen. Either they don't get to him in time, or
no, I think what it is their first attack was on those 4 or the 3 people they fried this episode,
right?
And then Michael just comes out guns a-blazing. Like, that's why I'm saying that Miss Mead getting fried was the, like, okay, that's when the apocalypse shit starts coming down. Like, I don't think there's going to be this, like, Battle of Supreme shit and then they, like, hide them off in the background, because the witches reappear to awake them all, and they're like, okay, we're here to do this. Like, they've had to have done this and, like, either made Michael believe that he killed them, and that's why he's surprised they're back, or they just went into hiding from the get-go. Like, I don't see how they can have a fight in any way, shape, or form, and then have the scene we had where they come strolling up to revive them all, and then Michael being surprised by Mallory flipping fucking shit on him.
Yeah, so they're going to hide her. But then that would be... you're right. I don't know how the hell they're going to wrap this up in 3 episodes. I have no clue, because you have to think about how long Coco and Mallory were doing their thing, like when they're under the spell and they don't know who they are, and Coco's already building like her Instagram empire. Like it seemed like she was in that mode for a fairly long amount of time, but that could be Matt. You're right.
But that could just be them like, okay, hey, we're putting you under, and like they're not supposed to know, but you know, they could say, hey, this is how like the roles you guys are going to play. So it wouldn't be very hard for a Supreme to go, you've been super famous, and either like hypnotize another family and just kind of input her into it.
No,
because
it was the same guy. It was the same guy from the Skype call. The dad was the same dad.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying like that, whatever. Like, okay, so ignore that one, right? but either way, like they could have just said, "Here's your profiles," and then Supremed fucking Instagram following. I mean, I would imagine it wouldn't be very hard to make it look like you're a socialite at giving her powers. I mean,
right.
She made people's mouths literally disappear off their face. So for them just to fall into a role, especially since she's already kind of rich.
Yeah, she may already have a following to a certain extent.
Yeah. You know, and the way she talks about it, I mean, we're led to believe it's real, but, you know, she could also be very delusional and just a very rich, spoiled brat. Right. And that's just how she is.
Right. Maybe she was just in the beginnings of it. And you're right. You made a good point earlier. Michael doesn't know who Mallory is, so they have to hide people first. And then I guess the three of them, the 3 originals, are going to go after Michael, and then that's when they get, you know, banished or whatever, go away, and he thinks they're dead or whatever it was. I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't remember. I don't remember if like he just was like, I thought you were all dead because there hadn't been any like activity kind of thing, or because I'm pretty like I really don't think it is Michael one-on-oneing them. I think it is Michael ruining everything around them and basically letting the world devour itself.
Right. I am really interested to see if they show us what he does to start the apocalypse off. If he just like whispers in somebody's ear that gets to somebody in the government and everybody just sends the nukes, you know what I mean? Like how that happens is going to be so cool to see if they show it to us. Yeah,
because we have that scene that we saw like in the, you know, fortune-telling part where Michael kind of basically 6 zombies, you know, on her.
Right.
You know, there could be one of those things like that where, like, I mean, that's what I think it is. Like, I think it's like Michael's done what he's done to the world, and it's just so evil, so corrupt, you know, like, the people are obviously, like, yanking horses under trees to survive and eating each other, like, you know, what is a witch to a horde of, you know, zombies fueled by Satan?
Oh yeah, no, right? I just want to know.
You know,
I just want to know what he does to cause all the nukes to fire.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be, and I really wouldn't be surprised either if there's one of these like we see kind of what gets it going, and so we see the witches like game plan, and then I really wouldn't be surprised if they flip it real quick, but it's like 7 months later, and we get to see Michael's plan as in retaliation. You know, right? Because I'm just going to assume it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I'm going to go fight you, but you got to march your empire across fucking half the continent to get it there, you know? So, like, there's all these pieces they need to put in place, and, you know, just like she's bartering already with other entities and shit like that in this episode and stuff like that. So, I think there's a lot of, like, chess building, and you're going to see little kind of like, I took over this outpost, you know, maybe they got this outpost kind of thing, and you're just going to kind of slowly see all the dominoes line up, and then it'll kind of be this either flash forward and you gotta kind of see all that stuff happen, or it's like we'll watch it build up and then they'll fast forward and you just see all this shit go down and you're like, okay, so all of that happened and this is where we're at. Got
Right.
it.
Right. Oh man. Well, we're sorry we got this episode out so late to everybody. It's been, it's fall. The kids are all sick. Halloween is tomorrow. Heck, episode 8 is tomorrow, which is more important. Get that candy thrown out the door and then get on episode 8. So you're getting 2 this week more than likely, or just episode 8 will be latest too. We don't know. We'll see. Because now that Corey's not sick anymore, then I'll be sick next because all of my kids are sick right now. So I'm just waiting for it. It's just the thing that happens when you have a dad podcast. You're gonna have dad germs. Like, it's just gonna happen. Dads are around germs all the time. I mean, right. I think half of our last American Horror Story podcast we did for last season, we were sick. One of us, the other, sounded real sexy all the time. So, okay, well, hey, let's get into this episode. Let's talk about the scenes that went down, talk about all the crazy shit that happened, and try to make some sense of it. And yeah, as you can tell already with our future thoughts on the next episode, the next 3 episodes, I don't know what they're going to do between now and then. I have no clue. I wouldn't be surprised if season 9 was like Apocalypse 2. Like, just keep going with it. Just keep on going. Yeah.
You're like, hey guys, you know what? This isn't an anthology show anymore. This is just now Apocalypse. Like, we're going to finish this out until American Horror Story's over because it's really good.
Right. We finally hit the nail on the head. We got it now. So,
yeah.
So episode 7, titled Traitor, which that didn't even come into play till late in the show. And even then I was like, are they really? Are you really surprised that they're considered traitors because they're working for Michael and killed one of their own? But I guess so. Whatever. I was just like, I was watching the whole episode and I'm like, so when is the title going to come into play? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, is anybody surprised what everybody's doing?
Well, I just think it was called Traitors because this is like you saw like what happens to a traitor.
True.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a rough life.
Like, well, dude, isn't that like the lowest pit of hell? Those for traitors in like Dante's Inferno. I know. Like traitors and I think liars or something like that, or like being a traitor is held as one of the lower pits of hell.
I'm looking it up right now.
Nice.
Well, the 9th level is treachery. Betrayers of special relationships are frozen in a lake of ice. Satan, Judas, Brutus, and Cassius are here.
Yeah, that's like your biggest group of traitors. Like,
yeah, so you are correct. Traitor is the 9th. I thought there's only 7, but there's 9 levels of hell. Okay, so or 9 circles of hell. So the 9th circle is treachery. So that good call, nicely done. Above fraud, above violence, above heresy, above wrath and sullenness, above all that stuff, or below, or they're all above that one. So, okay, interesting. Good call there. Way to throw Dante's Inferno into this.
Well, that's why one of my favorite things my dad ever said to me was you're only as good as your word.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if your word doesn't mean shit, man, like it doesn't matter. Like, you are a piece of shit. Like, until your word means otherwise.
Right.
You know, like, that's what you're based on.
Your dad's a smart man. He's got some knowledge in there.
Yeah, just dropping those gems every once in a while. Try growing up with them.
Yeah, right. No, I'm good. All right, so let's see. We start out in pretty much just like pure black, just like pitch black room, and both people are lit, and one is Dinah, and one is some pretty blonde, and Dinah has a little voodoo doll, and she's like stabbing it in the chest, and as she's stabbing it, the blonde lady like takes her shirt off or takes it off her shoulders, and then suddenly like blood is spurting from her chest area as well, and then Dinah pulls her heart out. Not Dinah's heart, she pulls the blonde's heart out of her chest.
Yeah, because like it was weird because, you know, I'm all down with the voodoo, you know, pokey stab, and then like it's always been like, say, hey, stab a needle in the heart, and then the heart starts having like palpitations or feels like it's being crushed or, you know, whatever. This was like she stabbed the thing, and then just kind of like took the needle across it like she was opening it, and then all of a sudden her flesh just peeled open on her chest, and then you're like, what the fuck? And then next thing you know, it kind of does one of these like romantic montages of like going around the body in a 360 view, and then comes back on her just beating heart in hand, and then pretty lady's eyes like looking at it, and you're like, what the like, this episode should have said like traitors, and then underneath it in small print like prepare your stomach, because there was like some like just kind of like gross shit in this episode where, you know, you're just like, yeah, all right,
yeah,
I could have looked past that, turned the other way or something. You know, wasn't ready for
all
it.
the way to a toenail smoothie.
yeah.
So she enters a mansion. A lady lets her in. She gets paid. She shows her the heart that she brought, so she has the heart. So like at first, with it being pitch black, I thought it may have been like in some sort of like dream state or whatever, but she killed that bitch and she has her heart. Like she's dead, that body's somewhere gone, you know, but so she has the heart. They drop it in the blender. She does some of her voodoo stuff and needs something from the wife, and so she gives her some toenail clippings. She's like, ooh girl, you nasty. And makes a smoothie. She actually offers to put strawberries in it, but the lady, she's like, it helps it go down easier. And she's like, no, fuck him.
Yeah, dude. Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, and this is basically, she's like whipping up like a reverse impotent and Viagra spell all in one. So, because the dude's disloyal. He's a cheater.
Right.
And, you know, the wife even makes a comment in there as she's talking, like, it's not him, it's his dishonest dick or some shit like that.
I don't hate my husband, I just hate his wandering dick.
Yeah, I don't hate my husband, I hate his wandering dick. So really, she's getting a spell put on this guy that he will be unable to get an erection only for his wife now. So basically, like, she's having the power now of, like, only when this dude can get an erection. Like, and now, because I kind of wondered, was it like, oh, hey, my wife's got something sexy on tonight, like, is the dude gonna pop a boner? Because obviously, you know, like, that's your wife. You're like, hey, what's up, honey, you know, kind of thing. Or is it one of those things where she is like, get a boner, and he's like, bam, because like, how does, like, is that how the spell works? And then she's just like, nah, dude, I'm done with you, like, and he's like, just like powers down. That
would be funny. I would watch that sitcom in a heartbeat. But I think it's more like when he goes to wander again and he tries to get it up, it ain't going anywhere. It's just gonna flop around.
Yeah,
I think for her, it's just a standard, like, when she turns him on, he does. It's just normal. But I do want it to be the other way that you said.
Yeah, like I knew it was going to be like when he goes out, it's just going to be like, I don't understand what's wrong. Like, this has never happened before, you know, moment, right? You know, like everybody's been there. But I still kind of like, when she said only for her, in the back of my head, I went, oh, dude, tell me she can just like control it. Like,
just walking around the grocery store with the awkward boner all the time.
Like, yeah, because like, is the dude like, you know, just only for his wife? So like, anytime, like, is it love potion number 9? Like, is he just off the leash, or is it like her kind of controlling when and where she wants it? You know, obviously his shit's never going to work anywhere else. So I wanted to know the inside house rules. Like,
well, you don't want priapism to set in, which is a erection for way too long, where you actually damage yourself. So I'm hoping it's just like normal stuff, but honestly, it sounds like he doesn't deserve it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No, man, I like how you had that doctor terminology just like right there on the tip of your tongue.
I only know that word because I had to use it a while back when I watched, what was it called? It was the one where the aliens come to Los Angeles and all the Marines fight all the aliens and they win. It's got the
Battle of Los Angeles.
Yeah, Battle for Los Angeles. Like, I watched that and I was like, the Marine in me, the fact that they were still like, they got trained just enough by like somebody who knew what they were doing that it was like almost tactically correct. And like, I'm watching them fight aliens and I was like, I wonder how long a person can have a boner. I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, this movie's so stupid, but I don't even care because it's fucking Marines fighting fucking aliens, and I got a big old rage boner going for this movie, so I had to Google it around, and now I know the word priapism for the rest of my life. And the Battle for Los Angeles is a horrible fucking movie, but it's so great. In fact, I want to go watch it now.
No, it's a good movie. I like that movie. Like, it's a good action movie. Yeah, there's not a whole lot else to it.
5.8 on IMDb. We'll review it. When we have a break, we're definitely going to review this movie.
All right, that's fair.
It's so bad. It's so badly good. Oh, man. Anyways, okay, so somehow the husband is tied to the bed and blindfolded already, and Dinah gets up on him with her, like what you change the oil with, like what you add oil to your, like the funnel was like an automotive funnel.
Yeah, dude, but even that funnel was like the end of a funnel you put on like a sausage maker, because it was like huge.
Yeah.
Like, when that dude went to close his mouth, like, his teeth immediately hit metal.
Well,
like, because, like, even an oil funnel for a car is kind of like a narrow pipeline. This thing was just, like, half an inch around, and they shoved it in his mouth.
Well, what troubled me is, like, they didn't tell me how he got there. Like, was he voodooed to be on the bed and let him tie him up? And then, like, he didn't, like, and if I'm doing tie-up stuff in bed, hey, that's great. But, like, if the first thing I feel when there's a fucking blindfold on me is, like, a metal cylinder in my mouth, I may fight it for, he didn't fight shit. He was like, yeah, put it in my mouth. And then she started force-feeding him, you know, toenails and heart juice. So.
I just feel that was probably, like, the dude was kind of anglerfished, you know, whatever little glamour spell they did. They're like, hey, baby, it's going to be great. And he's all like, oh, yeah, boner, this is, you know, so he's just up there, like, in a total, like, haha. And then, obviously, the spell gets broke when a heart smoothie, like, gets shoved down your gullet and someone's pinning your mouth shut. So your only option is to swallow.
Yeah, like him like choking up on the blood and it coming out between her fingers. I was like, damn, dude, you went for it in that scene. I was like, shit, man, go ahead. But
yeah, dude, I don't think I could be an actor.
No,
at like these, like if there was ever a scene where they go, hey, because they even do this in comedies. Like, puking has now become funny for some odd fucking reason.
Go on the rant again. You went on it a little while ago.
You know, but like I wouldn't be able to do that, or. You know, like, just, I would, like the example, like, what was it in The Wolf of Wall Street where, like, Jonah Hill, like, made sure in the cut that...
his dick was out?
No.
Well, it was a fake dick anyways, but yeah.
No, the scene where he was eating sushi, where, like, Leonardo DiCaprio was eating sushi, so, like, the way they, like, made it cut, like, Jonah Hill made it so... that when the cut happened, he always had to be eating a piece of sushi every time they restarted. So he went through like 94 pieces of sushi and had like a spit bucket.
Right.
And I know spit buckets are a thing and stuff like that, but like that would gross me out just having that like near me at all like times, or someone just being an asshole like that because I fucked with them on set earlier, you know? Do
you want some super old school spit bucket trivia?
Not really.
The guy, well, you're going to get it. You fuck. The guy who did the voice for Bugs Bunny hated carrots, but he had to get the sound when he did it in the, you know, to record the audio for the cartoon, he had to bite into a carrot. So every time he bit into it, he had to bite into it and then spit that shit out.
I would have been like, yo, you guys got one good recording? Because we're going to fucking recycle the shit out of that.
Right. Here's my chewing recording right here. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's see. So she finishes up her voodoo on the guy. She tells him what we mentioned earlier, that he's only going to get hard for you. You'll be fine now. She goes to leave. Cordelia meets her at her car. She addresses her as the new queen of... We find out during their conversation that Dinah is the new queen of voodoo. Like, she's the new voodoo queen because they killed what's-her-name at the end of Coven, right?
Yeah.
So she's like, doesn't do me a bit of good because I have no subjects. Like, there's nobody else for voodoo right now. Like, either they're dead or scattered to the wind or whatever. So she's like,
yeah, well, she's basically like, New Orleans is too poor and under like corruption right now, and LA is too many people don't want to be known to socialize with a black woman, as she puts it pretty much.
She says they don't want to appropriate her culture, so they don't even want to ask her.
Well, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
They won't ask her to do it because they're like, I don't want to do that. That's not PC for me to ask you to do some voodoo for me.
Mm-hmm.
But Cordelia meets with her because she wants to meet with Papa Legba. So you mentioned him last week, and she wants to meet with him. So Dinah's like, sure, it'll cost you $100K in cash. Like, damn, girl. Like, okay.
Yeah, didn't bat an eyelash at it, though.
Didn't even
She's like,
hesitate. I want to know how much money that coven's sitting on.
dude, that coven's got to be sitting on loads of cash, dude. Like, I think just to be, and only in TV show purposes, unless your background is coming from a house that needs to be rebuilt, kind of thing. Like, if you are called a coven or a clan, like, they're always sitting on old time money.
You can have some
somewhere,
dough.
shape, or form, right? Like, every one of them's like, oh yeah, well, I have like gold just back here. Like, don't worry, Like, yeah, they're just rolling in cash. Well, plus, I mean, even then, you got to think, like, we've already seen that wealthy families come to them and are like, hey, I think our daughter's got a little something.
Take my daughter, please, as I throw you as much cash as possible.
And they have ties into, obviously, Hollywood and catering, cooking and seams and stuff. Like, I'm just saying, like, witches are known, so they're probably not hurting for, I mean, just on, tourism probably alone. they make enough money.
Right. Well, that now that you say that, the Coven House didn't seem to be a real tourist spot even after she came out with witches being real. So, but yeah, she's meeting with Papa Legba. They set that up. We're good. We go to opening credits. Good to go. By the way, still one of the best opening credit shots. Like, the whole opening credits for this one, there's a few bits of it from Coven in there. I like all the explosions and the gauges that are like maxing out and the ram's heads and all the shit. Like, it's still, I just love, like, most of their openings, for the seasons have been like just fun to watch. But I like how this one harkens back. I haven't mentioned it since like the first episode, but I do like it. It's probably one of the better things. One of the best ones, I think, personally.
Well, you know how there's that little, like, I think I tweeted about it, but you know how in the opening credits there's like the water drip sound?
Mm-hmm.
It's the one that, it's like the one sound that's like carried through all of them, and everybody always tries to figure out what that person is saying, because a lot of people think they hear stuff. So that noise always kind of sounded like it said, "I'm scared," to me. Well, when I listen to this series, it sounds like it says "great power."
Interesting.
When I hear the noise now, like it is in all of the other seasons, it's always kind of either just been the noise or it's kind of sounded like it said, "I'm scared." This is the first season where I heard it and it instantly triggered two new words in my head, like completely shifted them.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not saying they're doing anything, but this little noise they have been talking about forever. And it's just kind of been one of those, like, people have like put it through like audio modulators and like slowed it down and sped it up and reversed it and all this shit, and like it's one of those, it's never been confirmed in 1,000 other theories, but I always thought it said "I'm scared," and like now it sounds like it says like "great powers," like something like that to me. It's like completely changed. And I was like, is that because it's like, Lucifer like rising? Like, is this kind of, and I was like, holy shit, that's so, god damn it, these guys are so good at what they do.
Now I'm gonna go get down that rabbit hole tomorrow about all of about the opening sequences and stuff. Damn it, Corey. Damn it. I'm not gonna get any work done tomorrow. Oh shit. Okay, let's see. So after opening credits and stuff, the only way I can describe it is the Quentin Tarantino, like the featured presentation, like from the 70s type thing. Like, it's pretty much the feature presentation, the old school like way they do it. It's pretty much in the front of anything that Quentin Tarantino or Robert Rodriguez does, just as like an homage to the old school cinema stuff.
Yeah, this was kind of like it looked like it was more like a flashback to the 80s to me. Mm-hmm. Like almost a made-for-TV movie.
Well, I'll tell you what. So we meet Bubbles McGee in this scene, and it's a show or a major, a TV movie or thing called A Christmas to Dismember, and it's about a lady in a home, a lady, and she murders her husband. And then on the news, there's a serial killer who's on the loose who's dressed as Santa, which we already know is in the area because she answers the door and, like, it's a guy in a Santa suit.
Slams the door in his face, basically.
She can't call the cops because there's a dead body in her living room. You know what I'm saying? So it's that whole thing. Now, that is actually almost scene, not scene for scene, but plot element wise. She was on, it's the season 1, episode 2 of Tales from the Crypt from like 1972, 5, something like that. I don't know.
It was probably 74 because in the scene she like mentions the year that she's been doing this stuff from.
72.
Yeah, so I think she actually says, maybe she says 72 or something like that, because she says something along the lines of like when they were, I think it was when they like finally cut. She said something like, I've been doing this since 1972, or maybe that's when she was talking to What's-Her-Face
right,
afterwards.
Madison.
So that was probably like a little callback to the year she did that episode.
Yeah, but in fact, before we started recording, while I was waiting for you, I pulled it up. It's on YouTube. You can pull up that episode. It's 22 minutes long. So I started watching it. I didn't finish it before the podcast starts, but I'm going to watch it tomorrow. So while we're talking about this scene that Bubbles is in, not that we didn't just have like a 10-minute pause, but I've been Googling a little bit, and the TV show Tales of the Crypt did not start in 72. It started in 85 or something, right? So I was incorrect, but episode 1, season 2 is called All Through the House, but the Tales from the Crypt movie, like the original like movie that's like an hour and a half long that has a bunch of different segments broken up into it, that was in 72, and that's the one that Joan Collins starred in. The same thing, the segment is called All Through the House.
Ah, okay.
So it's not the show. So anybody who's like a Tales from the Crypt aficionado who's listening, who's like, it's not the fucking show. Okay, it's not the show, all right? And I went on YouTube. The segment of All Through the House is also available from the movie, is also on YouTube. So I was starting to watch that, but I also didn't finish that one as well. So there you go. But now you know. So if you want to go and see what that's based off of, look it on YouTube. Tales from the Crypt, All Through the House, the movie with Joan Collins, playing the exact same character, practically. So, anyways, the plot of her movie plays through. The guy's chasing her, and as the Santa gets ready to kill her, like he hacks up a lung, and director calls cut, and we're like, oh, we're on a movie set. So, okay, great, we're on a movie set. So she cuts. We realize while she's taking a break that she can read minds. She can hear what people are saying in their heads. So we learn about the guy who has to take a shit. And like Madison comes up to her. They end up having like a great, like, I'm the best, like, bitching contest at each other. Like, Madison is, of course, referencing how old she is, and Bubbles is referencing how she's actually the only actress in the coven. It was great. It was actually really good between the two of them.
Yeah, like, she's got to be just like checking boxes off her list of like people I get to pretend to be bitchy to that are super famous.
Right.
Like, yeah, she just has to have like a want list, you know, of like, who can I go like just be an asshole to, kind of like, and then as immediately as they say cut, probably go, oh, I'm so fucking sorry. Like, I love you. You know?
Yeah, right. I mean, between American Horror Story and this episode and the seasons she's been on, and all the people they bring in for this show, and the folks they brought in for
Scream Queens,
you've got Jamie Lee Curtis, you've got Kirstie Alley, you've got John Stamos, like big names there too. So it's just like she's been a bitch to everybody, and just must be. I mean, because we've said this numerous times about actors. She plays the same character no matter what she's playing in.
Yeah, so far
you could literally transpose Madison Montgomery right over to Chanel on Scream Queens.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's fine. She plays that part really, really well, and there will always be a need for that kind of part on TV.
Yeah, she's going to be, you know what, like, she's going to be one of those actresses that, like, unfortunately will probably be, like, typecast in that role just because she does it so well. But she's also going to be one of those actresses that's going to look like she's 18 to 24 for the next, 35 years, right? And, you know, she'll be one of those, and then all of a sudden there'll be a break in her career, and everyone will kind of be like, where the fuck she go? But it's really just her, like, doing her own thing, you know, for a decade because she's filthy fucking rich, and she's like, I'm going to go help humanity and, like, be a real person or whatever. But then she's going to come back and, like, all of a sudden have, like, a, you know, like a Christina Applegate, like, coming back to television kind of thing. And you're like, holy shit. Like, but you're all grown up now. Holy fuck. Like, what the shit?
Christina Applegate still looks like she did when she was on Married with Children. She hasn't aged either.
she okay, like she definitely doesn't look like she looked like on Married with Children. I mean, no one from that show does. I mean, you can obviously tell, but she is aged fantastic,
Like a fine wine.
Like yeah, like she's as one of like those women that even though she's slightly older, like you'll never be able to tell, you know, like you'll never really be able to pin down her age. Like until she's probably 70, she'll be able to float between like 35 and 70 on any given day. Like whatever she wants to do, like that's just how she's aging, you know. And you're like, oh man, I'm 35 and I'm never gonna not look like my age or older.
Right, the salt and pepper in my beard tells differently.
Yeah, but like, and that'll be the only thing. Like one day you'll be like, oh man, you know, she'll actually be 65, and you'll go, man, Christina kind of looks like she's like 50, and that's because she'll decide to have like a gray streak in her hair for whatever reason, you know. Or you'll see her with like grandchildren, and like it'll finally dawn on you that like, holy fuck, dude, I've really been watching her on TV for like 40 years. Goddamn, she has to be this age now.
Right.
You know?
Right. I was a teenager when she was not a teenager on television, so Jesus.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. So they leave. We're now at some restaurant with Madison and Myrtle and Bubbles. Myrtle is explaining Bubbles' power. She calls it Lectio Animo, which is literally Latin for mind reading, but we have to say it in Latin because we're cool with the coven. So, you know, the waiter's like checking her out, like checking out Bubbles, like wondering if she has any panties on, like what color panties she has on.
Yeah, that's I like how every dude.
I don't know that one.
Really, Alexa? Really?
Yeah, Alexa's like, what's up? She probably stopped saying her name.
Don't talk to her. I like my okay, sorry, side note, like my dad and stepmom have a Alexa, and they I know, I'm sorry. It was going to happen. When they talk about her like we can't say her name. They do the same thing. Like, yeah, we really like our.
When they talk about her like we can't say
Shut up. Stop. Swear. Technology. Have you seen the robots that like can like do drywall and shit now, and the one that can do like parkour? Like the world is going to come to. You talk about apocalypse. Like there's like they're doing some shit at like MIT and some of them robotics colleges. Man, they're like, it's scary. There's one now. Now you've given it a nail gun. You're one step away from putting like lasers on the son of a bitch.
Yeah, I saw I've retweeted the one that was showing it doing the obstacle course.
Yep.
Like,
well, I watched one hang drywall. It picked up the drywall, it walked it over, and then it used this nail gun arm to nail gun it to the wall like it's supposed to.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily like bother me as bad because like most of the time they're slow moving. You know, like they're just built with limitations, right? Like why does its knee ever need to go like up to its chest? So they're not built that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not all just universally built to be like ultra limber and freaky and, you know, wall climbing and shit, right? So like those ones don't worry about it, but like the parkour one, that one worries me a little bit because it's quick, but also then again you're also like it's only a waist down and it's hooked up to a thing. So when they go, hey, we've transferred a stream of consciousness, that's when I'm really gonna go, nope, we're fucking check the F out. Like we are absolutely done.
Right around the corner, man. It's right around the corner.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right, so let's see. They're at dinner. The ladies are at dinner. We realized that they went to get Bubbles because they need her because they want to read Ariel's mind. They have an inkling that he is not what he says he is or is being shady, and they want to use her against the Warlocks. So that's what we learned from that dinner right there, which is kind of a given.
And it's funny because, like, I think I kind of forgot, so I'm going to kind of assume that a lot of people forgot, too, that you were like, oh, we're sending her in to go read the minds of, like, these Warlocks. But then you got to remember that, like, the strongest Warlock is, like, the weakest witch right now.
Correct.
And so you're like, oh, yeah, duh. So even even Miss Calorie Counter and people like that are still technically, they may not know how to use it yet, but are still technically more powerful than like a warlock on any good day.
Right, which we see later on at the dinner as well. They aren't even in the same realm as those two ladies when it comes to knowing what's going on. They're so fucking stupid.
Well, it's just funny, like, as they're reading the conversation, and it was weird because you can tell she's just like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, oh, you said something important, da-da-da-da-da-da, you said something important, and the conversation, what really got me was at the end when she was like, oh,
you're tired.
We're tired, and both of them immediately went like, ew.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I kind of like dawned on me again that I was like, oh yeah, like I'm kind of, because I've only seen her with other more powerful witches, I still kind of forget that even though her knack is mind reading, she's still at a whole new level of like witchcraft compared to those warlock dudes. And the fact that she was just like, all right, you're tired, it totally like reiterated the power dynamic that's going on, and like again why it was such a like huge idea or a huge thing that Michael was the Supreme, kind of thing, and like did all the shit he did, and why these guys were so gung-ho. But then you're also watching them go, it's as if you guys want to get caught. Like, at what point would you
accept dinner
you still know, like, yes, Michael is the new dude that's like fucking cream of the crop, but you still know you're not as good as them.
It's literally like when you have the championship college basketball team and they're like, man, those guys, like, for instance, I'm a UK fan, so like at least every year they're like, man, I wonder how this team would match up against like this NBA team or this NBA team. They would get the shit beat out of them because they don't play basketball 24/7 and they're not professionals. Like, it doesn't matter. The best college team would lose to the worst NBA team any day of the week. And that's exactly what it is. It's like, why would you even put yourself... And that's why no one ever does that, because it would not go over well. So why would you put yourself at a table when you know... Even though you think like your dicks are so hard that you think that you've just got everything worked out and that you're so far above them and they are 18 steps past you already. Why would you put yourself at that table and then on top of that, like, not even like try to cast a spell so you didn't think about all the bad shit you've done in the past week? I mean, I guess you wouldn't expect there to be a mind reader there, but would they not know? Like, I guess they wouldn't know. I mean, it's not like they're like, her power is mind reading. Like, it's not like a label. Like, they wouldn't know, oh, that's Bubbles, she's the mind reader, unless they knew of it. They didn't, apparently, because they were like, sure, I'll sit down and dinner with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like what goes on between witches and warlocks is... It's as much of a mystery as... There's not a whole lot of interaction, but except for maybe among, like, the top four, right?
Right.
Like, these warlock guys are the board, basically, and they only talk to the Supreme and whoever she like tags along and goes, hey, you're going to learn how to take meeting minutes today when we go and visit the warlocks, right?
Right.
So, and it also seems to me like there's a lot more witches than there are warlocks.
Well, hey, or testosterone fucks with your power to the ethereal realm.
Yeah, so...
it's kind of like what men think.
I don't see how they could know, and they also and even for the warlocks, being obviously a rung low, like they still think very highly of themselves, like the board member guys do. So they would still turn their nose up to anybody that wouldn't be considered on the same managerial level as them, even though the power scales are still tipped in such a distinct manner that like. The girl whose only power is to, turn on things with her mind right now, like, would still probably be able to, like, blow his brain up on accident, because she couldn't control it.
Right. Yeah. There doesn't seem to be too much crosstalk on, like, powers between the two sides. So that makes sense as to why they would even sit down with that. But we'll get to the dinner in a minute. First, we have to call Papa Legba, which is what happens next. So... Dinah and Cordelia are... I guess it may have actually been Cordelia's bedroom. Did that look like her bedroom? It may have been. Wherever they were. I think it was the same place that we see later when she pulls Myrtle back into the living world. I think it's the same room. So I think it's her bedroom.
Yeah, it's probably just the master suite there at the school or whatever.
So Dinah calls Papa Legba. He, you know, I do like with that kind of power how Dinah is still like, I mean, he's your devil. So she is very hesitant in the first place with anything she says to him. Anytime he's like, have you reconsidered my offer? She's like, fucking no. I will not do whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we even know what that offer is. I don't think it was ever said I mean, she wasn't in the Coven season, correct? Was
Well, he's referring to
immortality.
snatching babies.
She says immortality. Yeah, you have to. She goes, I'm not about snatching babies.
And that's what the old voodoo queen was doing. Yeah. And so that's what that was a callback to, because that's basically pretty much what doomed her from the get-go.
Right. And so Legba greets Cordelia. He says he's been looking forward to meeting her, and he already knows why she's here. Like, I know what you're going to ask me. And
yeah, but he's also not stupid to the situation. Like, he gets that in the religious power structure, he doesn't have as many followers or believers or whatever, tips the scale as the Antichrist does. Like, even he goes, You're wanting me to plot a coup. Like, that is very dangerous for me. So the fact that the big bad guy is like, ooh, I mean, I'm going to ask for something real big in return just to even kind of get this ball rolling, because I don't want that fucking dude remotely on my radar. Like, that just goes to show how nasty it's going to get.
And something else that Legba brings up during his conversation with them is that the last time a witch queen of Voodoo Mambo summoned him, they brought him the greatest offering. And he says,
Kumochi.
And Nan appears from Coven, from a lot of seasons of American Horror Story, but she is her own wonderful self as usual, because she greets Cordelia like,
Cordelia, long time no see, bitch.
Yeah. I just like that she's always smiling.
I know, and she's like, I enjoy it. He calls her like his little helper, and like, what do you do? And she's like, I cause trouble, or something. But she's like always like happy. It's great.
Yep.
So we find that Legba's request is all of Cordelia's girls, all of the Coven. He's like, if I'm gonna do this for you, I'm gonna put these guys on my bad side. I want all of your Coven, every witch you got.
Yep. He was like, I need more helpers.
And Cordelia, of course, says no. She offers herself. She's like, take me. I'm the most powerful witch on this earth. Like, take me. And he goes, that's not good enough. So
yeah, they first laughed at her.
Yeah.
Like, that's what that's supposed to mean something.
And he's, so he's done. Like, he's like, okay, I've given you my offer. I'm out of here. Even Nan is like, please, Cordelia, I want to see my friends again. And she can't do it, so he grabs his Cuban and just disappears back into the underworld or whatever.
Yep. He's like, all right, I'm out. Go do what I do.
Dinah is noticeably pissed. She's like, number one, I called him. Number two, you denied him. He never asked twice. And number three, you've forsaken 6 billion people for your Coven. Like, you won't give that small amount of people to save 6 billion. So, oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of thought there was going to be a little bit more to that, but that was just pretty much more of like, hey, here's Papa, kind of do a show, and then he's just on his way. There wasn't really anymore, because I really thought a deal or something was actually going to happen. I was like, ooh, some kind of backdoor shit. All right, nice. But this was like, nah, he's just here to hear, and then she's obviously not going to agree to those terms, and we're back to square one.
Right back to, yeah, you're right. It didn't really take us anywhere plot wise. It was like, well, okay. But it also may show us why Dinah, when she comes out of the spell in the normal timeline, or in the post-apocalypse timeline, she's like, I'm not fucking with you guys. Like, I'm here to watch. So she's already pissed at the Coven anyways, because they let all this happen. So it may actually lead us to why she is the way she is when the spell comes off.
Yeah, well, I think it's like she's already, I mean, she kind of already stated from the get-go, like, I don't have anything to do with you guys because you've kind of pretty much fucked everything for me. You know, I don't want anything to do with you. And obviously her religion doesn't really have a whole lot to do with what's going on per se. So, I mean, I don't know if she's like, nah, we got our own little slice over here that is unscathed, or, you know, getting by, we're doing okay, or at least she knows, because her dude is like, I'm not fucking with him. She's like, I definitely am not fucking, like, I'm not, you bitches are crazy, you're on your own, like, I'm gonna just see what happens.
Yeah, right, ride this shit out. But at some point but you have to think, between now and her being kind of on the outs already with Cordelia, at some point they deem her worthy enough to put the spell on her and hide her in public to get her saved. You know what I'm saying? Like, at some point they still go, we could use you later on, so bibbity bobbity boo, you don't remember who you are.
Was she under the spell?
She was.
I don't think she was under a spell, because when she met Michael and stuff, there was like that old, like, hey, how you doing kind of vibe, and she's like, you know me, man, just minding my own fucking business.
Yeah, you know, and and you're right, because
I think they just brought her back to like, hey, dumbass, we need you. Like, just because you're over here adjacent left, right? Like, you don't get to sit this one out. Like, it affects everybody. Right. And she's still trying to be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, maybe she's like, not. Maybe she's not under the spell. She just has a shit ton of money from doing all that voodoo for the rich folks in L.A.
Yeah, I mean, I think she bought her ticket, but I also think she has interacted with Michael before, and it was probably like Michael going, are you going to cause me a problem? And her going, nah, me and my side don't have any quarrels in this. I don't like the witches because they blah, 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 blah.
Okay, so at least sometime between now, the next episode, she's still going to be tagging along, because he will have met her, because he's met her in the past. So he has to meet her before everything goes down.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't necessarily have to show that.
Yeah, true. Maybe. We'll see.
You know, I mean, like, just by conversation and context alone, like, you can go, okay, they've met, and by the way she interacts with the witches, you can go, all right, she's trying to be the person that rides the middle and kind of goes, all right, let's see which way these scales get tipped, and that's the side I'll hop on. Right.
Yeah.
If it keeps me alive.
True. Very true. Let's see. So the next scene is, it's kind of funny, but also kind of cool. So you've got Mallory, Queenie, and Zoe. They're all around the table at the Coven House eating, and Mallory is asking about the new Supreme. And Zoe's explained to her that... Well,
she's asking about the Supreme.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
And that's when they explain to her that the new Supreme isn't here. Michael can't be the new Supreme because Cordelia is still not dead here.
Yet.
Yeah. Only then will the new Supreme basically show itself.
Right.
Like, you know, so...
And that's what sets her up for being sad.
And that's when it kind of dawned on Mallory what is going to happen. And that's where you get her comment later down the road. Like... Because everyone on the witch's side thinks Mallory is actually going to be the Supreme. And, you know, Michael, yes, may be power alpha number one, but Mallory's probably going to be the one to stop him.
Right. Yeah. But in the interrupting all of this, Coco comes running in the room, and she's like, you guys, watch this. And so now we find out that her powers are growing, and now she's also... not only a gluten detector, but she can do calorie counting.
Yep.
Which is the greatest thing ever. So thus begins like this montage of like them throwing different foods in front of her and like Googling what the calorie count is and her reading it. And then like the last thing of them all, Queenie runs out and she grabs it. She's like, okay, snowball challenge. And Coco reads it and she's like 80 calories. They're like, there's no fucking way there's 80 calories in that. And then Queenie turns around, she's taking a bite out of it. And so, so they're like, oh shit. But then I think it's funny that they actually used a product and then they end up shitting on it. They're like, you know, I always think I like these. Then I take 2 bites and realize, nah, I don't really. And then Coco's like, I don't have that problem. And she starts eating it and then she chokes on it.
Yeah.
And she chokes so much that like she fucking dies, or at least becomes completely unconscious of asphyxiation.
Yeah, she's
on the way to death.
Choked so bad that she collapsed, and I mean, unless you just...
I just love how you have this room full of witches and no one knows the Heimlich.
Yeah, but I think it was one of those things where it was like, I mean, even they said like, oh my god, she's dead. Like, it happened so fast that, I mean, because there was no like in her throat, and then there was maybe 2 seconds of her going, ha, ha, and then she was hit the fucking ground. So like she had already like passed out, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, I don't even think there was time for Heimlich the way they did this choking. There was no like, oh shit, I'm choking. Oh shit, I'm choking. It was like, oh shit, I'm choking. Floor.
Right. And so this whole scene is pretty much just to let Mallory show what she can do. And now, so she magics a slice open in her neck, like on the side of her neck or whatever, and like reaches in and pulls out the piece of snowball and then seals it back up pristinely. And Zoe turns to her and says,
"What was that?"
And Mallory says,
"I just helped her."
And Zoe, being someone who has been in this coven for a long time and is literally like the confidant of Cordelia, says,
"I've never seen anything like it. I've never even heard of a spell for what you just did."
So
yeah, well, she's also kind of like the nerd too of like spells, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's the book lady, like she knows them all kind of thing. Like, you know, like if you were, hey, how do I do this type of magic? Like, she was the person that you would go to and be like, oh yeah, you need to go check out this and this and train this way or whatever. Like, you know, the fact that she was like, there isn't even anything anywhere about what you just did. But it also just goes to show that this is all Mallory's just natural ability. Like, it wasn't her casting a spell. This was just her instinct taking over and her power going, this is what I can do to fix this.
Right.
Right? You know, like, in her head, she was just probably like, I need to get to that. And it was like, okay, whoop. And like that power she has in her just took over with thought. Mm-hmm. There's no like,
it's all instinct.
Say these words to conjure it up this way. Like, she just thinks it and it happens. Like, that's how her power is flowing through her. You know, like, that's what makes her so ridiculous.
Yep, exactly. I completely agree, and that's the best part is like it's that instinctual magic. In fact, that reminds me, my wife and I are currently watching a show called A Discovery of Witches. Have you heard of that?
No.
I think it's not on like Netflix or something. Like, I've had to go find it to download it or whatever, but wherever it is, if you have a chance to find it, watch it, because it's kind of like love story-ish as well. It's based on a trilogy of books. But there's the main character is a witch, and you have witches and vampires and all kinds of other, and werewolves, I think they said already, but I haven't seen one yet. But it's this whole like, and the main character is a witch, but she's not like gone down the witch path. She's gone down like the human path and is like a teacher or a scholar of some sort. But she has instinctual magic. Like, when her magic happens, it's because she needs it to, not because she conjures a spell and wants to do something. She just goes, you know, the first thing we see is like some paper, like some presentation she has, like, blows away in the wind, and like she magics it back into a pile, like, to not lose her papers. But then it like escalates up to the point of like her causing witch's wind, which I've never heard of that, but it was a cool fucking thing they called it. But it's pretty much conjuring up like gale force winds to blow all of your adversaries like the fuck away from you.
Nice.
And like people are like, we haven't seen that for centuries. Like, no one has conjured that shit in forever. So it's a sweet ass show. Just a side note. Go watch it. I'm only like 3 or 4 episodes in this first season, and I'm like already like, okay, I'm sold. It's a little bit, I mean, it's not like, you're not getting like blood and guts every episode and like all kinds of crazy awesomeness. It's pretty much just like, it's a slow burn, plus like there's a whole like love story, so yay for that part of it. It's like, okay, fine. But wishes win. So people are like flying across the fucking river like, okay, You sold me. I got it. I'll watch it. But it's cool. It's that same kind of instinctual magic. So still at the Coven house, some like girls are moving between classes or whatever, going up and down the stairs, and Cordelia's like, she's trying to put on a brave face, but you can tell she's having a rough time just getting downstairs. And Zoe kind of catches that.
Yeah, it's like she stands at attention when like students come by.
As soon as they're out of sight.
Like she's like doing just a, hey, I'm gonna just stand here and wave at all of you as you walk by real quick, so I don't have to keep moving. And then it's like, as soon as they turn the corner, it's like buckle over because that was fatiguing enough.
I'm gonna go do a Corey nap all day.
Yeah. Yep.
So Zoe catches her.
Oh, you got a cold? Yeah, dude. It's 9 a.m. What are you doing? I'm about to lay down and sleep till 4:30.
I'm going to sleep. When does my kid get off the bus? That's when I'm getting back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Zoe catches her she helps her to her room, and they start having a conversation about the Supreme. But Zoe says, hey, I've seen some shit recently, and I'm pretty sure there is a new Supreme, but I don't think it's Michael. I think the Supreme is in this house right now. So she's talking about Mallory, of course.
Yeah.
So then we are at the Hawthorne School. So we know that Myrtle and Bubbles are there to do the dinner. Myrtle is playing. Did you know the name of the instrument before I wrote it in the notes that you're looking at now?
Is that a harpsichord?
No, it's a theremin.
Theremin. Damn it.
It is an electronic.
Yeah, I know what it does. Like, that thing's cool as shit.
Yeah, part of me is like, I wonder how much one of those costs because I kind of want to try to learn how to play it.
That's a good question. I bet you could find one for like dirt cheap.
I wonder if Amazon sells a theremin.
Of course they do, dude.
Does Amazon sell a theremin?
Like, Amazon just beat Sears at what it does online.
Hey, man, you can get a great sounding theremin at a great price for $100 on Amazon. You can get one for $200, but the Amazon choice is $500. A Moog Etherware standard theremin. You know you want one, Corey.
Not for $100.
Truth.
I don't. Not for as many times as I would sit there.
Like, I'll try the $100 one. I'll spend $100 to see what it's like. But yeah, so she's playing a theremin for Bubbles while they're waiting on the guys to get there. Bubbles is really enjoying it. Ariel and Baldwin come in. They enter the room. Myrtle kind of grovels a little bit, which, like, Myrtle does everything that, like, these guys are so fucking stupid. Like, they're doing shit that should throw you off. Like, these girls who have been highfalutin, looking down on you for, like, centuries, all of a sudden they're like, no, we were wrong. We're so sorry. We made you something special.
Yeah, man, but that just goes to show how far those warlocks are in on the Michael Kool-Aid. Yeah. Like, the fact that they have basically, because they believe that Michael's the alpha, and as long as they are like, yo, what's up, Mike? Like, I'm with you, dude. That if the witches mess with them, Michael will just kind of take care of it. Like, they kind of feel like they're made men at this point. Like, I'm all good. And especially Big Boss Man, because he's kind of already got the inside track through that conversation with Miss Mead and everybody, that we've already known's happened. So, like, I get it because I understand for the show's purposes that it's to show that they are just that far down the rabbit hole, but from an outside viewer watching the show, especially when you kind of think this whole, like, generational takeover is about to happen, if you're, quote-unquote, the number 2 dude in the whole market, like, don't you think you would just be on your P's and Q's a little bit more anyways? Like, I wish, like, I'm not mad that the dinner happened, but how easily, like, and I don't know, maybe Myrtle was, like, weaving some magic as she was, like, speaking, because, like, even she said earlier, like, all you have to do is listen, like, I'll steer the conversation. Right. So, she's like,
playing him like a
maybe
theremin.
Yeah, like, so her talking right there, she's just putting a little bit of suggestive material in everything, and the fact that, again, these warlocks are so weak, especially to someone like Myrtle. Of all, it's not like we're talking with the New Spring Chicken. Like, Myrtle could fuck all those guys up in a heartbeat if she wanted to.
Right.
So I kind of think it's a little bit of both. Like, they're so far down, Michael's ass that it doesn't take a whole lot of suggestive material on her end for them to be like, yeah, you're right. You are beneath us. You should grovel for us.
Yeah, make me dinner.
Women should make men dinner. That is right. Like, right? You know, like, because that's basically how, like, hard they bit into it after, like, because there was minor coaxing. You know, at first he was like, nah, fuck that. And then basically she had to go, no, truly, I am sorry. Like, let me say it one more time to prove how sorry I really am. Because you know when you say it twice, you mean it. And then he was like, yeah, you're right. Okay. And even her, like, passing off the, you know, we can be the ones that show how the things can be done, you know, when we work together, kind of blah, blah, blah. But at that point, they were already going, yep, they understand their place now. It's beneath us, blah, blah, blah. You know, like they were, I mean, they're just
stupid.
With what Michael has done, it's almost confusing, right? Because, like we said, why aren't you guys paying more attention? But then again, I guess if you had been the bottom rung forever, and all of a sudden some dude like this comes along, you kind of, I guess,
lose yourself,
get blinded by the lights, right? You know, you're like, yeah, dude, fuck. As long as I'm on this guy's side, we're good to go.
Yeah,
right.
I have to mention, I like how Bubbles introduces herself. So she says, you may have seen me on the silver screen, and both the guys are like, and then she goes, or maybe one of those procedurals on CBS. Now, she says that to BD Wong's character, to Baldwin, and he makes his face like, but it's hilarious because he was on SVU, which is on NBC, but it was just funny that, like, she mentioned, like, a mainstream procedural, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And that was
not me. I wouldn't be caught dead doing
who
that.
would do that shit? So I thought that was funny. But so we're at the meal. We've kind of talked through most of this already, but we learned during the meal that Michael is out in the wilderness. He's decided to be completely alone out in the wilderness. So he's like doing his. It's kind of like if you think back to like biblical scripture when Jesus goes and, oh boy, I should fucking know this.
You are pissing UK off.
Why would I piss UK off? What are you talking about?
Because, man, that's Bible Belt country.
Everything is, yeah, well, we're still in Bible Belt country. But before the crucifixion, he goes off on his own. Like, the temptation stuff, like, it's off on his own. Because I kind of feel like it's one of those things. I kind of want to know what he's doing, whether he's, like, communing with Satan or whatever is going on out there. But he's definitely away from everything. So we learn that. And then, of course, Myrtle starts to steer the conversation with some big long-ass fucking story about the wine that they're having, and the guys are acting all jovial about it, but in the back, Bubbles is reading their mind, and she finally hears about Ariel being in on the plot for killing John Henry, and she also hears that Baldwin is like, I can't wait till all these bitches are dead. Like, so she knows that they're both they're in it to kill everybody. And at this point, we said earlier, I wrote in my notes, Myrtle makes them done with dinner. Like, they're done. Like, she makes them done. Like, and you're done.
Yeah. She hit the period in that evening and was like, all right, you guys are done. Go to bed. And then they basically laugh at how easy that was for them.
Like, that went exactly as planned, which was great. So, which honestly, I was kind of waiting for the guys to figure it out, but they never did. So it was just kind of like, and it went exactly as planned, which doesn't usually happen on television, but I'm with it. Let's do it. Everything went as planned. So the next scene it's a dinner at the Robichaud house. So it's all the girls. And this is what we talked about earlier, where Mallory's kind of like sad because she's upset that if she is the new Supreme, she's sad that for her to rise, Cordelia has to die. And she's just kind of like ho-humming it. But Cordelia's like she's in good spirits. She's also like, you're also not Supreme yet, girly girl. Like, you got some more tests to take.
Yeah, but I mean, she's a good leader, right? Like, I think she understands, unless it was someone like Michael from a female perspective, you know, like, she knows that Mallory's probably the perfect leader. Like, she doesn't want to be leader. She doesn't understand why she has this talent, but she wants to do good with it. And her natural instinct is to take care of
and
the
to help,
people,
to help people,
so,
exactly. Yeah.
So, like, Cordelia is a good enough person to, like, I don't think, she would be kind of pissy
She wouldn't
about
be
it.
like her mother was.
The only reason you would see her mad at Mallory is if Mallory was like, I can't do this, and then Cordelia would, like, give her the old slap across the face and, like, get your shit together. Yeah, you fucking can, because that's the kick she needed, right? Or whatever.
Right. Yeah, she's definitely not like her mother was when trying to give up the Supreme.
Yeah, right.
Right. I mean, even during the meeting with Papa Legba, she was like, Mom, you bitch. Or when she realized that she had given over Nan for more of their voodoo stuff for her, she was like, she said something to the effect of like, fuck you, Mom, or something. But so, yeah, she's definitely happy about it. Now that, in fact, the whole group, the whole table during this meal is happy. And Behold kind of chimes in and he's like, how the fuck are you guys celebrating right now? Like, shit's about to go down. Like, this is shit is not good. And Cordelia, like you said, being a good leader also is like, yes, we know shit's hitting the fan, but tonight we're celebrating. She's like, tonight we have a good time.
Yeah, like nothing we can do right now is going to change anything. So we might as well enjoy the time we have, which may be our last time together.
Right. And she tells him,
I'm not naive, Behold. I know damn well the challenges we're facing. I've known for some time. It forced me to do something I vowed I would never do. And it almost killed me.
And we get 2 years before the apocalypse, and we see her casting a spell in her room. There's candles lit, and there's like the, cauldron type thing in the middle, and she's cutting her hand and, holding it over the cauldron that's on fire, and her hand starts to, I don't know, burn, decay, something. It's getting painfully gross is all that's happening to her hand.
Yeah, it was an odd mix of charred but lava flowing through the cut at the same time. Like it was
sunburn.
Like an Eye of Sauron in like a mummy's hand, like there for a moment, because that shit went from pale white to
all over messed up. Bubbly red grossness.
Something that if you saw real quick on a still picture, your immediate reaction would be to yank your head back. You'd be like, "Oh, what the fuck happened there?"
Right. And so she speaks out her spell in Latin, which I'm not even going to try to say, but I did translate it on Google Translate. And what she says is, "Ash soul," or soul of ash, rise from the fire back to me, is what it translates to. And that makes sense when Myrtle appears. So she is Myrtle at the end of, I guess it was near the end of the Coven season. She gets burned to the stake, right?
Yeah.
And we don't ever see her come back, right?
No.
So us being good American Horror Story aficionados should have been like, oh, wait, how's Myrtle back when we first saw her in this season? But we didn't do that because that was 6 years ago.
Honestly, I just assumed.
I knew she was burned, but I figured I was like, maybe I forgot something,
No, I mean, I didn't even, I knew she was burned, but honestly, with the way everything kind of started with the episode, especially when we got thrown, a robot.
Right.
Right away,
anything's possible.
I just assumed that, obviously, now that we know it's witches and warlocks and the son of the devil, I just went, the witches did what they needed to do to get the people they needed to get, right? I just was like, maybe they'll tell us. That was the first thing I thought in this season where I went, this will probably be the one thing they don't really explain. Everyone will just kind of forget that she was burned, and they're just like, oh shit, Myrtle's back. I remember the lady with the orange hair. She was fucking funny as shit and sarcastic as hell.
Awesome.
It was great. Yeah. Other than the probably few Twitter heads and people who are really into the show, I bet you a lot of that did what it kind of did to you and I. There was the quick idea of and then it just went, we got Satan and devil child involved.
Way
Anything's
more
possible.
important shit happening than whether or not
Yeah,
she
yeah,
got burned
yeah,
at the stake 5 seasons ago. I don't have time to deal with that shit.
Yeah. There was obviously time that she could have came back somehow. Right.
Now we know how she came back, and she tells Cordelia as soon as she's like in existence, she's like, "What have you done? I told you not to bring me back."
Yeah.
Okay, so Cordelia's like, "I'm sorry, I need your guidance. We had to protect my girls." So they're all, I guess that was 2 years ago, but now we're back in where we were in the timeline, and you get like whenever I want to do a GIF about like a squad walk, like this is the squad walk, dude, because that shit is awesome. Like you've got Cordelia, they're like flying like the ducks fly together V, man. Like Cordelia's at the top, and like they're all like in a V and just doing this walk like in the dark, and like Myrtle's puffing on her fucking e-cigarette, and everybody's looking all badass, like they're kind of like their take on the witch's hat, which I think is fucking cool. Like it's so subtle. Like some of them don't wear it, but the ones who do, like it's always like if you take like a pointed round witch's hat, but they've done something to it to make it their own. It's fucking sweet. And they roll up on the gas station that we all recognize from where John Henry got friggin' sliced and diced and burned up to shit. And Zoe apparently has the ability to call back his ashes that have blown to wherever. So she calls all the ashes back. All his ashes back. And I think she actually goes, "Yes, this is John Henry. Like I know this is John Henry." And Cordelia's like, "Okay, like this is your 7th test of your supreme tests. Like here you go.
Yeah, bring him
back." And we switch to the old school. So anytime we've ever seen the test for the supreme, it's always been this reel. So we go to the reel, and she brings him back, like brings him back from his ash. Just kind of, and
Yep.
it definitely didn't take the toll on her that it took on Cordelia bringing Myrtle back. Like, there's no, like, messed up hand or fucked up shit. Like, she's just like, "Nah, he's back. We're good."
Yeah. Yeah, that's
It shows her power.
Yeah, but I also wonder if it was like maybe when Myrtle was burnt at the stake, there was a little more like hoops to jump through kind of thing. Like, yeah, he was killed and set on fire because Miss Mead's the fucking sociopath. But it wasn't like she put like, there wasn't like a big ritual that went with it kind of thing. So
let's not split hairs on bringing somebody back from the dead. All right.
No, I'm not. But I'm saying, I think, and that's why Cordelia probably had to do a little more like blood sacrifice kind of thing to it, And I also think Mallory is just that strong. Like, I really wouldn't be surprised if she could just like walk over to like Abe Lincoln's grave and was like, "Yo, man,
Abe Lincoln,
pop up." Yeah, like here's my real life wax museum.
True. Let's see. So we get John Henry back, and he's explained to him like what he knows. He informs them that it was a woman that killed him, not one of the two guys. Because so far they thought Errol was the one who actually did the business, but it wasn't. So they figure out who the woman is, and then later at the Coven house, Coco's like trying to eat ice cream, and she's like, "Wait a second, fuck, I can't." She's like, "I'm never gonna eat ice cream again," and Cordelia's like watching her from behind, and she's like, "Not every power is a blessing." So Coco like helps her. I do like that the Coco we first got introduced to is not truly who she is. Like she is accepting herself in this house, and she's like not a bitch. Like she helps Cordelia to the table. Like she's always been like, she's like, I like that she's like bubbly fun and honestly like enjoying her time there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's cool to see that Coco like went from Coco to doubting herself and kind of being just stuck up but self-loathing at the same time, and is like really like, "Hey, I'm one of the guys. I'm
right,
team building and feels wanted and is enjoying herself." But it's also cool because you get to see like her really going, I don't think I'm the best one to do this, but if you're saying I'm the best person to do this, then I'm gonna do it for this group of girls. Like she's bought in. Like at this point in time, she's like, "Hey, even if my calorie counting and other things are only this, if you're telling me I'm the person that can do A, B, and C, then I will be the one to do it. You know, like she doesn't have a doubt in herself.
Right.
anymore.
And this conversation is the one that we first hear the word traitor for this episode. And Cordelia asks her to help eliminate a traitor, but I'm not sure Miss Mead is really a traitor. I mean, Ariel is definitely one for his house, but Coco helps with Mead, so I don't know. I felt it was kind of a little bit like thrust on us. I'm like, she's not a traitor. She's just the one who worked for Ariel who killed John Henry. I mean, I guess kind of, but she was never, I don't know. Anyways, I just happened to bring it up because she says the word traitor, and I've been looking for it the whole episode.
Yeah, but I think when she's using the word traitor there, like...
Is it more for Ariel?
It's more for that group, right?
Right.
Like she's probably just saying like they're instead of saying they're traitors, like she's explaining the story and it's like, I need you to help me with one of the traitors. Like, and this is the one I want you to get because, you know, the way that interaction went down with her and Miss Mead, it was perfect because Coco can play the idiot, right? Like, and the shit talker to a T, which is exactly what they wanted because Miss Mead was like, "Oh, you dumb idiot."
Well, let's talk about it. So Cordelia asked Coco to help her, and she's like, "Absolutely, I will." So at the same deli, I'm guessing a new person is hired there now because it's after. Well, let's see. No, it's probably the same guy too. I think it's the same guy. They don't really show his face, the actor, but it's before all the stuff with Mike. Is it before he kills the guy? No, because he's a traitor, so it's somebody else. I felt like it was the same guy.
Yeah, and especially because she's like, give me the hooves to make it extra satanic-y or whatever, you know, and like that guy doesn't beat an eyelash, so either he's way more laid back,
right,
and just thinks she's like a kooky old lady joking and she's just talking her satanic shit anyhow, or that dude's like the new butcher that's kind of on the satanic side and it's like, yeah, hey, don't worry, you need a pig's head, I got you, goat's heart, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's the inside guy.
So Coco is watching her through the mirrors that used to be in grocery stores that you could see down the lane so you don't smash carts. They don't have those anymore, by the way. Just want to put that out there. Like, if you go to Walmart or Fresh Mart or Shoppers, like, they don't have those mirrors anymore, which are really helpful when you're trying to pull a giant, like the giant kid carts that have the two seats in the back, like in the big plastic thing, and then they've bolted the buggy onto the front of it so you can actually have the buggy. Like, those would be really helpful other than me trying to push an 8-foot object out of a lane where there could be 800 people trying to go the other direction. I could really use those mirrors these days. I'm just saying, back in the day, which was a Tuesday, they used to have those mirrors. I'm just saying. Yeah,
but also back in the day, there was like 800 less people walking through them, and now there's 800 more people that won't ever use that fucking mirror, so like, why waste the infrastructure and inventory of putting it up? Because no one's going to use it, and there'll be one guy that'll say, back in the day, and bitch about it.
Fuck your logic. I want my fucking mirrors. Anyway, so she leaves... And Miss Mead gets in her car and closes the door. Coco knocks at the window and says,
I hope you like it hot, bitch, because where you're going.
And, like, before she even gets her whole line out, Miss Mead shoots her with a fucking, like, trank dart. Just right in the chest.
Is that what that was? Because it was like a goo on her chest. Like, I didn't know what it was.
What you saw was the feathers of the end of a trank dart.
Oh, is that what that... Yeah. Okay.
And so Miss Mead gets out. She tells her she's going to, like, boil her in her crock pot. And as she's, like, talking shit, Cordelia's albinos take her. They put a bag over her head and drag her into the SUV. And the bigger guy grabs Coco and she's like, do we get her? He's like, yeah, come on. So...
Yeah, because she said, am I going to die? And he's like, no, you're just going to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. We're back at Hawthorne. And Baldwin and Ariel are having like a fucking little meeting in this room with a bunch of little artifacts in it. And he's presenting his poison powder that he's been working on. He said he'd been working on it for his entire life, and he's just now perfected it. And it makes you like bleed out, and it's airborne, so you're both standing over it. So he blows it in Ariel's face, and Ariel starts freaking out. And he's like, "You're trying to fucking kill me." He's like, "But it only works." And Baldwin's like, "No, because it only works on women." And they're all like, they just think they are fucking so goddamn smart and just so great. And like, as they're like giggling over it, the doors open, and Cordelia and the albinos and Myrtle all walk in, and Cordelia's like, "By the way, that's plagiarism. That powder was made in the 1500s by Agnes Sampson. You just switched the genders of it." So if you're wondering who Agnes Sampson is, she was a Scottish healer and purported witch, known as the wise wife of Keith, but she was a witch back in the 1500s in Scotland. So just so you know,
That's cool.
I was reading a little bit about it.
I love it when like writers and stuff like pull cool shit like that, like from actual myths or fairy tales, or just like that person was real, but by all accounts we think she's blah blah blah.
You good?
Yeah. Stubborn, but it was Aiden, and he comes out and his hair's wet, but his hair is like normally like really wavy even when it's wet, and so it looks straight. But he also shaved his face, but he also shaved his chest. Like, I'm pretty sure he shaved himself like head to toe minus like his thighs and legs and stuff, and he's like, "I look so different. I look so weird." I was like, it's like, that's kind of what happens after you have facial hair for a while, man. And like, you shave it off. He's like,
"Tell him."
"Oh, I don't know if I like it." I was like,
Tell him now to...
It'll grow back in like a week.
Tell him now that Nair is not a good thing for men.
No, he's gonna learn that lesson on his own, like every other man has
At
learned
least,
that lesson.
where did you learn yours? What location?
On my chest.
Me too.
Chest.
Okay, thank God. We both were like, "I'm not starting it on my sack."
No, God, no. Jesus Christ, no. I remember I bought like that Nair stick for dudes, and I put it on the middle of my chest right here, and I was like, because that's where like all the hair like converges on me, and I was like, all right, let's see what this thing does. And then like 10 minutes later, I was having like a 5th degree burn on my chest, and I was like, I will never put this shit on my body anywhere else again.
Through your, how old were you? I was like in my like teens or 20s. Like I was in my early 20s, late teens, early 20s. Anyways, did you do this?
Yeah, I mean, I was like 17.
Did this go through your head? Are you ready? So like you put it on. I think I actually used like, it may have been the cream as opposed to like the stick you're talking about. But like 2 or 3 minutes into it, you're like, this really fucking hurts. But like chicks give birth, so I'm sure like they have higher pain tolerance. So I should just fucking wait it out the whole, like, I'm fine. Like, we're good. Like, this pain is like, I could take it. I remember it hurting.
Oh, well, like when the pain kicked in, like, I immediately grabbed the bottle and like looked at the suggested time. And then I calculated probably the amount of time that has gone by in my head. And I went, well, that was like 25 seconds, so I at least needed to give it like a solid 5.
Right. I'm just a bitch. I'm not gonna be a pussy. I got this.
Because it wasn't even like, oh, I'm weak or whatever. I went, I will just experience this pain and it will have done nothing because I'll have wiped it off too soon. So like, I'll just have a burning sensation. So I was like, I might as well let it do its job. Like, you know, it's like taking really shitty medicine, and that's when your parents go, don't worry, the worse it tastes, the more it works. You know, like, just shut the fuck up and kick it back.
Right. Yep. I'm so glad I'm not the only fucking moron that did that shit when I was younger.
Yeah, no, I had a buddy that like bleached like a strip from his chin and like down his chest all the way into his pubes, but he like he used the actual, you know, like not like blonde, like the actual like bleach, like I'm gonna suck the color out of everything, dude, and like it fried his shit. So like it just, I remember him coming over one day and like just pulling his pants down, and he goes, look, and there was just like a strip of platinum in the middle of a brunette forest, and it was like falling out there at the same time because it fried everything. And he's like, I don't know if I will ever get hair back there again.
That's the worst. Oh shit!
And I was like, why did you think bleaching your pubes was gonna? He was like, I just figured everything should match, man.
Oh man, God, no wonder these fucking warlocks are so stupid. We're stupid as men in general.
We don't even have special powers, and we're talking about the dumb shit we've tried for like out of male recreational beautifying, which is never a good sign. As it like, as a man, here's what you do, man. If you're born a hairy dude, you know what? You're a hairy dude. Like, either have the money and go suffer through those laser treatments and be a bona fide badass, because that shit hurts like hell. And just go get your body lasered if that's what you want to do. Or just
comfortable in the fact that you're always wearing a sweater.
Yeah, or even do the like close crop shave like Ryan Reynolds did in like Amityville, because like you could tell that dude's still got body hair. Like he's not clean shaved, but he's a dude that'll put it down on like a 1 just so he doesn't like break out and it doesn't like take over. But it's like, hey, I get it. Like it's gonna be there, but I'm gonna keep it manicured. Like that's all you got to do as a guy is like just manicure yourself, man. Like literally go, would I want anybody to look at that? If no, then fucking fix it. Like there you go.
Oh man, you know what? I was gonna cut all this out, but I'm not now. Like all this is going in.
No,
so
dude, just this
your
whole
son
thing
interrupted
needs to
us.
just stay in.
We're leaving it in. I'm gonna just cut the blank spot of time where you were talking to him, but I'm leaving all this in. That's fine. We're wrapping it up. Folks who have hung on this long so far, we love you. But yeah, but let's finish the show up. This is what happens.
I honestly, at this point, I don't even think it's like really the wrap of the show. Like they just stay for our inevitable side adventures of weird topics and odd pauses and dumb shit that happens.
Narrowing our chests. Boy, I haven't thought about that in a long time.
Yeah, I mean that is that and waxing my ass was probably the most painful things I've ever experienced.
I'm so glad I have not. My wife keeps saying, you should just wax. I'm like, no, I'm good. Yeah,
my ex-wife and I, like, she waxed my ass one time, but she did one side and then like did the yank, and I fucking clinched, dude, and both of my cheeks like fucking got stuck, and it was a terrible mess, and like. It was me screaming into a pillow and then sprinting off to the shower because we already had the shower water like prepped, and basically like me running hot water down my ass crack trying to get like all the wax unstuck, and my ex-wife coming in going like, are you okay? And me going, how do you get wax out? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, fucking Google it or something. And basically it was like after we got out of the shower and everything's like terribly stuck together, we're there with like a razor blade trying to fucking clean my shit all up because it was like just ruined at that point of a waxing experience. So yeah, that was single-handedly the most painful hair removing experience I've ever had in my life. And
shit.
I don't think I will ever let anybody ever again convince me to like wax any part below my waist ever. Like it's just men are not built for that kind of punishment.
Your asshole was ruined. That's the best. Oh god damn it. I haven't laughed like that in a while. Nicely done. Oh shit. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that is definitely one of my funnier marital experiences.
Okay. Whew. Oh god. Okay, let's get through this. Oh Jesus Christ. Okay. Where were we? Oh, the powder. Jesus. Okay, the powder. So the
cool thing about the powder is because the guys, when they were bragging about it, they also show their like
idea of what it would do.
Idea of what it would be if it happened. So you see them like blowing the powder out, like, and all of the females in there like rushing through their pores and like turning into shit, and then that's when their dream is abruptly crushed by Cordelia and crew.
Yeah. So she lights it on fire, and then as they're protesting, she casts Perpetuum. What do I fucking say it? Permanently closed is what it is in Latin. And she seals their mouths. They have no more mouths anymore.
Yeah, not like their lips were stuck together, like their flesh,
It's flesh.
melded together, and their mouth hole was just
Right.
covered. Because I like how she said, what did she say? She goes, try to say
Yeah,
something
say it
again.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and they're both just
Like, why would you not make that joke when you made their mouth go away?
Mhm.
So then we're outside in the sun. It's another slow motion walk. The ladies are all in their black. Some of them have camisoles, which if you don't know, Corey, are little umbrellas. Parasols? What did I say? Camisole? What the fuck is a camisole?
I don't know, dude. I honestly thought you just made a fucking word up and we're like trying. But you said it so matter of fact that I just bought it. I was
I
like,
learned that from
okay.
my wife. She says so many things like she fucking knows it's the truth, and it is completely
Yeah,
wrong.
dude, you've told me that fact about her so many times, and like sometimes when I'm over now, like I almost want to kind of like test the waters with like getting a glass or something like that. You know, like just something innocuous, just to see if she'll matter of
Google
fact me.
everything my wife ever tells you that she acts like is a fact, because half of it is wrong. Parasol. God, I'm such a fucking idiot tonight.
Yeah, what is a camisole?
It's
like
a fucking
it almost
drug,
is like
I
a
think.
mix of like chamomile and something else.
I don't know. It's nothing. It's literally nothing. It's a camisole is a sleeveless undergarment for women, which is not what I was going for. Parasol is exactly what I was going for, but I'm an idiot. Everyone listening knows I'm an idiot. They've listened to this podcast plenty of times. If you haven't, shame on you, because it's blatantly apparent every episode how fucking stupid I am. If I don't have my notes, I have nothing
You know
to
what
say.
though? But our powers, but our powers combined, like we usually even out pretty well. Like I was right there for the recovery. You know, like we got it. Like when I miss stuff, you're like, dude, I think you were trying to say
You're
this.
so
And I'm
wrong.
like, you know what? That's exactly where I was trying to go with that.
Anyways, they're all walking out to 3 magnificently placed poles. Like they are. It's not like they just drove some 4x4s in the ground. Like this is like concrete. It's got a nice little platform up. Like the actual burning stakes are like metal with holes in them, so you can like feed the rope through it and use it over and over. Like it is definitely a location.
This is used for one thing and one thing only type.
Yeah,
build.
that shit has like whatever is over Wakanda in the Black Panther movie, the same kind of thing shields that area, because it is literally, it screams, burn people here, so we don't want anybody to see it. There's got to be some sort of veil over that place when they're not using it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely has to be shrouded and cloaked.
So they
or
tie,
something.
so the albinos, poor albinos, by the way, like that's pretty fucked up that you make the albinos work in the daylight and like in the sunlight. That's pretty fucked up. But they tie.
What? Dude, I mean, they're not allergic. to
they are
sun.
definitely slathered with SPF 50. I'll guarantee you, because
Well, yeah, dude. I mean, that's just a white thing. Like, I mean, I'm slathered with fucking SPF like 100.
I'm a redhead, dude. I'm partial vampire.
I don't handle the sun as well, you know. But like that, the whole out. Like, speaking of the albino crew that they got, man. Like, I love the fact that they're dressed to the nines. Like, given the line of work that they apparently do, right? Like, it's this weird, not like a mob vibe, but it's almost like, it's like a cleanly aesthetic. You know, like, this is a very bad thing that is about to happen, but these guys only do this thing when it needs to happen, and it's only usually to people who have done something very bad in general. So, like, you don't really feel bad, but, like, these guys come and are the dudes that if they show up, like, you don't want to see them at your door, but they're also the kind of guys you go, well, I can't really put up a fight for this, so I might as well just get along with it, right? You know, like, I love that whole little albino crew, because you only see them briefly.
Oh yeah,
in both seasons. Like, that is the vibe that they put off. Like, you know they're there, and when they're there, you don't want to be on the wrong end of whatever it is that they're there for.
we're here for one reason and one reason alone, and you don't want to be here for it. So they tie everybody to the stakes. Great. As she's pronouncing their sentence of death by fire, she explains that laws of a witch, the laws state that a witch cannot kill a warlock. So a warlock must be killed by a brother. And she announces that she will not be breaking that tradition today. And this is when, like, John Henry, like, does his, like, Vince McMahon, like like walk into the thing.
Yeah.
And you can.
I love how he does the like, not like a wave with your wrist, like back and forth, but like the hey Toodles, like I'm gonna bend my pinky in all the way to my index finger a couple times, like, hey, gotcha.
And in fact, he does he gets to walk up and he pours gas on Miss Mead. He pours the gas on her. I think the albinos poured on the other guys, I think. And then he asks if there's any last words, which of course is like pretty much the same joke that Cordelia was like, I'm sorry, say that again. Like he's asking, is there any last words? And then, but Mead's mouth is fine. So I mean, okay. Like we've said, like Kathy Bates is Oscar winning. Kathy Bates loves doing this show. She loves, you can tell that she's not phoning it in. She loves this show. And it's just a good old TV show when she wins Oscars in movies. Like she loves this show, and the speech she gives is like amazing. Just absolutely like blood curdling. The way she's calling out to Satan, you know, it's just great. In fact, hopefully I'm going to cut it in like right now.
You think death is a punishment? I do not fear the fire. It cleanses me, as it will cleanse this world. I've seen the end. I bear witness to the darkness. Father, take me in your arms. Your kingdom is nigh.
Which is funny because I kind of thought it was stupid.
What? Come on, she is great.
No, dude, I'm not saying she's bad or anything like that. And like, that was true to her character. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Because I also find something else extremely hilarious, and it's not even remotely funny. Okay, so God damn it. So if someone is blindfolded and like their wrists are bound, say like behind their back, and it's in a scene where they're trying to like walk around, I find that easily my favorite, funniest thing on the face of this earth. Like, you know, some people find like when newscasters faint funny or something like that, like they'll laugh. Example, the scene in oh god, now I'm not even gonna fucking remember the goddamn movie. Oh, with the pikey, Brad Pitt, Snatch.
Okay.
Like where the guy pops out of the trunk and he's in the middle of the road and he's got the bag over his head, the Russian, and his arms are tied up and he's like trying to find his footy, like walking in the road. Hilarious. Dude, I lose my shit every time. Person in a horror movie bound, kind of blindfolded, trying to run off somewhere, losing my shit, dude. I laugh every single time. It is the funniest motions, and just watching someone blindfolded trying to do shit is the funniest thing in the world to me.
Okay, so what does that have to do with this scene?
I don't even know. Where was I going?
She's not blindfolded. She is bound.
No, but I also like, okay, yes. So what I was getting at is anytime anybody like screams at the top of their lungs, like before they're about to die, like even like William Wallace, like going down shit, it's always funny to me. Because it's like, do you have any last request? And then their first instinct is to just yell at whatever deity or whatever it is. Like anybody going out yelling at the top of their lungs is probably like my number 3. Like just, you can't ever do that without looking dumb in my eyes. Like it's just, no, like, and you're right. Like, it's a good speech. Like, and if you actually listen to like what she says, you're like, all right, man, like that is a person bought and sold into what they believe in.
And to up what we were talking about earlier, a few episodes ago, she sounds as crazy as one of the Cardinals, the other Cardinal did when they introduced themselves to Michael. Remember how I made fun of her because she was like, she was saying things all like embellished, and you know that the one that wasn't Miss Mead, like she's like there now, that she's like, I'm facing death, I don't care, fire doesn't hurt me, and she gets to just go off on this big long like praise Satan speech.
Yeah, and the first one was comical, and that one was comical to me. Like I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying that
Kathy Bates' performance here wasn't comical. I'm just saying that she went there for it. She went that crazy fanatical there, which was great to watch. It was just fun to watch.
Yeah, to me, I almost wish it would have been a little more, not so much, the fire will cleanse me, I'm not afraid of the fire. Like, that part's cool, because I just think that's a solid line to say to anybody that's about to set your ass on fire. Like, all right, man, you're a tough motherfucker. Gotcha. I wish it would have almost been a little more praise towards Michael, like a little more oddly motherly.
Like, you don't know what you've done, or you wait till you see what he does type thing.
No, just like, because you know how she was like, like I said, the fire will cleanse me and bring me into your embrace, or, whatever. Like, she's basically just saying, like, hey, Satan, come get me. Like, your child's coming home or whatever. Like, I wish, because she's always had that, like, funny, odd, motherly vibe with Michael. I kind of wish that her going out was a little bit more of, like, a mother explaining to the people, you don't understand how great this child is. Not like what he's going to do to you now that you've killed me. Right. But like her kind of like, even in a terrifying way, like Michael, when he brings about the 1,000 plagues upon this earth, like I wish it was her saying shit that like what he's kind of going to do. Like instead of just like, hey, big guy down below that no one really knows, or because like Michael we know, Michael's there, Michael's the real thing. Yeah, we saw like goat shadow thing, but to pray to God or to pray to the devil below is just kind of like screaming up in the air. Like I wish that scene would a little bit more like focused on Michael, because Michael's the dude in this show. Like I would have been in your boat then if that's the way the speech would have been. But since it was just more like a kind of fuck you and like, I'm Team Satan 100%, I was like, all right. Like, yeah, that's a funny person screaming at the top of their lungs on their way out. I can see what you're saying.
And I could also, I'll tell you what, I'll make that scene work for you. So in her speech, instead of where she says Satan, she says the word Michael. And then during her speech, you flash to him in the woods, like in like almost like a legs crossed, like meditative state
or something,
and like his eyes are like rolled back in his head. And then as she screams for Michael and they light the fire, like his eyes like return back to reality, like they turn back forward.
Yeah, which and we might even get that kind of Michael scene in the next episode.
True. I would love to actually call something for once.
Yeah, right. That
never
would be sweet.
Fucking happens.
But yeah,
here.
like. I think the speech to me would have been more impactful if it was a little more catered towards Michael, just because they've always had that funny, even though serial killer-ish,
for them to have almost like
mother-daughter or mother-son vibe, like I wish it was that instead of just some devout rhetoric that anybody would say that is satanic on their way out.
Like for them to have like almost like a psychic connection where he felt her die. Yeah, and he felt her, get lit on fire. And to top it off, when John Henry finishes, when she finishes and he casts the spell that lights all 3 torches and the albinos drop it, of course the two warlocks are wiggling and trying to scream with no mouths, but Miss Mead just sits there with this she's got black lipstick on and she's like got this smile going and doesn't scream an inch at all the entire time.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's like...
That's more scary than screaming in a fire, when you don't scream.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, no, anybody that could sit there with... I don't even care if it's like some dude coming up and punching you really hard in the ribs while you're like tied to a chair or something like that. Like, if you can just sit there and go, like you're fucking tough. Because hitting someone, the actual act of hitting someone fucking hurts. Like being on the receiving end hurts. Like, and the fact that she's just literally being engulfed in flames and she's going, no big deal, whatever. Like, I'm here for it. Like, yeah, that is if that was a real life thing you witnessed, that would be something you'd never, ever forget. Like, it would forever be burned in your mind. Like Coco, because like they were like, you don't have to watch if you don't want, like, kind of toughened up and like, forced herself to watch. But
Good for her, by the way.
that she's the type of person that scene will forever be stuck in her head. Like the other witches will probably maybe recall it, but they're also all on the attack. So they're just kind of enemies at this point where like she that was her literal trial by fire into
Right.
the group. Like this is where we're
She
going.
hadn't seen it before, and yeah, good on
Yeah.
her. I would love for her. I love that we're all focused on Mallory and her powers. I would love for like what pushes it, like when the final fight happens, like for Coco to be what pushes it over and the witches win. You know what I'm saying? Like for Mallory to do all of this stuff and then Coco does like one thing because she's like toughened up and seen this stuff and come so far that she is the one that like, we know Mallory did all the work, but she came up behind and she was like, and we're good. You know, like give her that last push. That would be so fucking cool because she's like, her character, while starting out so shallow and so void of anything, we actually see that her character is almost growing the most through this entire season.
Yeah, and we also we know that her original personality was kind of shallow and stuff like that, but we also don't know how much it was ramped up when she was put under.
Right.
You know, if it was just like, because obviously Mallory isn't subservient, you know, but like, I mean, in the power structure, but Mallory's also the perfect person to be under her because she's always the one that like wants to help people, right? So like pairing them two that way is like a perfect disguise.
Yeah, very true. And so to finish it off, once everybody's done burning everybody, all the girls and Behold and John Henry all walk away. I don't know if Behold was there or not, but John Henry, they all walk away. So that's how they finish the shot out. That's how the episode ends. We've got a lot of ground to cover for 3 episodes. We talked about it at the beginning. We don't have to get into it again. It's just...
Yeah, but I think we also said, like, they have a lot of ground to cover, like, when we were 3 episodes in, and we're like, they got a lot of ground to cover in, like, these 9 episodes they got left, or whatever
but the one thing we did get right is that we have not gone back to the timeline we first started in for, like, 4 or 5 episodes. We thought, we said that. We're like, there's no way we're going back here. We're staying in this past timeline to get back up to where we were. Like, we're not even... I don't think we're going to get there next episode. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think we're going to get back to the post-apocalyptic part of the timeline till maybe episode 9, maybe even 10. It depends on how they do this. So
I could see it being next episode because I could see them really just... And this all hinges on my Miss Mead being the trigger for Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's, you know, kind of something like you said, like he's out in the woods communing with the beast or, you know, whatever the fuck he's doing. And all of a sudden... whatever connection he's had to her disappears,
right,
and you know sets him off, or he's just out there and it just happened to be that Miss Mead dies and Daddy's also like, now we move,
right?
You know, like,
well, here,
I just think the war, because they showed the witches doing the first attack, I just think the next attack from Michael is gonna be why the witches do what they do. Like, he's just gonna go, oh, you did this, I'm blowing the whole thing up.
Right.
Like, you took one punch, well, here's everything I have right from the get-go. This is what I was here to do. It's not gonna be a counter, even though that totally argues with what I said earlier. Maybe they'll do some weird flash around thing again of, you know, showing them building their armies or whatever it is they're doing.
Well, the next episode is titled Sojourn, which... dictionary means a temporary stay or to stay somewhere temporarily. So I'm guessing this next episode will show us when they send Coco and Mallory into their, like, somewhere else temporarily. They're going to say, okay, here's your spell. You don't know who you are. Go away. Like, so you can be there for the final fight. And because episode 9 is titled Fire and Rain, which would be the fight and then the reign of Michael, and then 10 is titled Apocalypse Then, so who knows? I don't know. Those are your 3 titles that are left. They sound cool. Let's see where we get to. There's episode 7 is tomorrow, or episode 8 is tomorrow night. I can't wait to watch it. This podcast will come out the day that episode 8 comes out, so thanks for listening before the new episode starts up. If you didn't find us at twodadsreview.com, you can always check us out there. You can find links to all the great places you can hear our podcast. And remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. As you can tell, it does not come out on a schedule. I'm sorry. I'm not one of the ones you're like, oh, it's Monday morning. Here comes the Two Dads Review podcast. That is not the fucking case. I am so sorry. So until next episode review, this has been Clay. The other guy on the other side of the mic is Corey. And we will catch you guys next time.
Thanks for listening.